Ready?
Oh, thanks.
Rolling. Scene one, take two. Action.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Fake Film School. It's titled CEO-ish, and we'll dive into refining your brand and being your own boss in this industry. I'm a film producer, director, the curator of Fake Film School, and also your host, and a multi-hyphenate mogul with taste, Jazmin Bryant. Thanks for joining us, and let's get into it. Originally from Virginia, by way of Chicago, where we met in film school at Columbia College Chicago and Concord, period. Now taking over the West Coast, both in LA, videographer, master producer, director, who specializes truthfully in some of my favorite music videos, and my favorite photographer personally, who's known for electrifying portraits, one of my first inspirations, and has given me a lot of opportunities that I'm super grateful for. Everybody give it up for Orel Cholette.
Wow, thank you.
Cool.
Who wrote that?
How are you, my friend?
I am great. Happy to be here.
Thank you for picking up the call, per usual. It's interesting being on the camera. I feel like we're both used to being behind the scenes, so this is gonna be a unique experience. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Here at Fake Film School, we are operating through segments, and our first one is called Class Topic, so make sure you're paying attention.
And today's class topic is CEO-ish.
And that means we will be discussing being your own boss in this business and refining your brand. Let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, I think it's time. How do you define Cholette as a brand? And what's the importance of branding, brand identity for you as a creative?
So Cholette was something that has always just been an extension of me. And so Cholette was all things that I'm interested in: film, photography, visuals. I had some mentors of mine, two very good friends of mine, like brothers to me, who had their own brands and their own companies, and I was so inspired by them, and I loved the freedom that they had, and so I started my own, which was Cholette, with all things photo and video. Brand identity is everything, because you show a logo of Starbucks or you show a logo of like FedEx, you just know what it is. And that's how I wanted my brand to be. So it's clear that I make visuals for artists and anybody that wants what they have to say into a visual.
In owning your own business, are there obviously some benefits you can kind of take us through? I know you kind of said the freedom, right? When you're not working for this big conglomerate company, there aren't as many restrictions, right?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is always freedom. I have been very blessed and fortunate to have been full-time freelance for as long as I have been. There's nothing better than just the freedom that I have every day to start my day when I want to start it, do what I want to do, be where I want to be, and take on the projects that I want to take on.
When you talk about freelance, what is freelance for those watching and maybe those that work a 9-to-5?
So freelance is a 24-hour, 7 days a week job where you are providing a service to people and you are known for that service. You are you, and you are your business at the same exact time. Sometimes my business is talking, and sometimes like Orel is talking.
When I think about brands that stand out, what they have in common is just knowing their audience.
Yeah.
How do you kind of find your audience? Who's your audience? Who's Cholette's audience?
My audience, so if Nike is Just Do It, Cholette is Everyone Deserves a Photo Shoot. And
Ooh, hold on, wait.
yes, that's been something that I've been saying since I started my brand. And Everybody Deserves a Photo Shoot was definitely my perspective on what I wanted my brand to be. I really love showing people who feel kind of detached from that, or they're not the supermodel, or they're not the, famous like actor or whatever, but to still give them that opportunity. I do work with a lot of indie people. I work with a lot of people who are just starting.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of people's first music video, first photo shoot, first short film, and
Wow.
introducing them to the world of a visual for them.
I would be remiss not to mention the way we met, right? Was just that. It was in college. I'll never forget. I'll never forget.
Same.
I'll never
I have
forget.
an image in my head.
Like, you were the guy on campus with the camera at every event. You know, your brand was super clear. So I have to give kudos to you.
Thank you.
For
Thank
that.
you.
But I saw you in the library. You were looking at like a bulletin board, and I was like, wait, this could be my moment. That's Cholette. Do you remember what I asked you?
Do you have internships?
I was like, you don't got interns? I just remember you kind of taking me under your wing. It started as an internship and then became very collaborative.
Yeah.
And I just cannot emphasize enough to anyone who's interested in film, the importance of collaboration.
Yeah.
That energy you kind of fueled and put that in my spirit. So thank you for that.
Oh, of course.
But also
Of course.
the importance of kind of networking across
Yeah.
and not just up.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, it really is. Yeah.
And it goes back to mentorship. So
Yeah.
you were one of my first mentors. Now I have mentees and I still have mentors. So it's like cool
you're
to
always
see.
learning.
You're always a student to the craft. I think you said that before too, just kind of like even on set, even today. I'm seeing Ari set up lights and I'm hearing Jawan talking about action. I'm like, we're constantly learning, right?
Yes.
It's a team sport. So
It's filmmaking.
it's filmmaking. It's filmmaking.
You don't have to love the movie, but what you do know about every movie is all the names at the end of the credits.
It's crazy.
That are involved in making it, good or bad. It takes a lot of people.
Can you kind of take us through your process of how'd you come up with your logo?
Yeah, so it's a very simple logo. It's just the shutter blades of a camera, and a few of them are taken out and reshaped into a C. You know, as a filmmaker and photographer, everyone doesn't necessarily see my logo, but when I made it, it made my company real for me. I was excited. I'm like the #1 person in my fan club of my own company, so just makes people like, oh, like he's taking this a little more seriously than like somebody else would. A lot of my business has been built off the power of referrals, which is the best thing. You do one good job for one person and hope that they go and tell other people about it or see it and they wonder where it came from. And so a lot of it is like, oh, I saw you shot for Jazmin. And even the other day, somebody was like just randomly talking about the headshot in your email. They're like, yeah, Jazmin has a very like fierce headshot, you know? If you were to think about like, oh, I want a headshot, like, oh, where did Jazmin get her headshots done from? So it kind of just grows from people seeing the work online or being a part of it in person. Like,
it's super authentic. It's important, I think, to be able to be approachable. And I think you've embodied that, you've mastered that. Having something to offer is huge. And as a creative, as an entrepreneur, how do you make sure you don't undervalue yourself or your services?
That's probably the hardest part for freelancers when it comes to actually supporting yourself. At first, I was talking about the freedom of a freelancer and I can make my own schedule, this and that.
Sure.
But that was after a lot of years of like learning how to be a creative, but also like be a business at the same time. So some days I'm just doing a lot of admin work. And then the other few days I'm just doing all business stuff to like grow my brand that doesn't have to do with like the creative, but just like making sure that I look good. So when I say this is the price, you look behind me and you say, oh, that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of it is just knowing your worth. And, you know, I think there are a lot of ways that people can, like you can tell somebody's confidence when it comes to their business, their eye contact or the way they say it or not say it or just all these different things where I can like tell if someone is just like just getting started or if they're like, yeah, this is my price, you know what I mean?
Of course.
But a cashier at any restaurant or any business, the price is listed up there and that's what you pay. You don't have to eat here. So that's just kind of like how I think about it.
You're working nonstop. You're freelance full-time. You know, the phone is ringing, the inbox is in flux. How do you avoid burnout as a creative in this nonstop work culture?
I prevent myself from hitting burnout multiple times by just saying no a lot. There was a time in my career, I was working a ton. I didn't even know that my business was doing that well. But, big but, I was so tired. I developed sleeping issues. I was overstimulated.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to sleep easily knowing that I had to shoot the next day. A lot of it was like events, weddings, stuff like I just didn't care about like at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just reminding myself that like, this is not the reason why I picked up a camera. I want to shoot films. I want to shoot music videos. I just felt horrible. And so I started to rebrand myself, like creating my own passion projects, putting that out there, and basically putting out the work that I want to be hired for. And my mom hates when I talk like this because she's like, get your money. Like, how are you going to say no to money, blah, 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 blah. But I don't want to lose my passion. And so that's why
the power of saying no. So I think there's a lot of sacrifice as creatives, especially in the freelance space, that we have to make. You know, sometimes to keep lights on, I had to do things I didn't want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think it's so amazing. And now you're able to say no. Gems are being dropped today. Gems are being dropped today. And I think this is a perfect segue for our next segment, which is titled Switch the Script. We'll use this fishbowl here. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. And Orel will be able to kind of pick a question.
Any upcoming projects that you can share?
I mean, Fake Film School, right? This is huge. This is my passion project. This is a baby that I've kind of been sitting with probably for the last year or two. Called on a couple more friends for the next 5 episodes to help us out. So that's a big one. But there are some, some short films in the works as well. So,
love to hear
be calling you soon.
That.
The lookbooks are loading.
Yes.
So yeah.
Upcoming projects. I think what I just like doing right now is just like I feel very flexible and excited to just pick up a camera and turn on some lights where I know how to do a lot more than I used to. There's a lot of things, nothing too like in specific, too specific, but yeah, just continuing my passion project while I'm doing client work. Next question, what's one of the hardest obstacles you've had to overcome and how did you do it?
In life? No, I'm joking. I think for me, we were outside, we were in Chicago, and obviously during the winter it's freezing. And it was a night shoot. We had hair and makeup in one of the tents and we had a heater. And there were some restrictions just because of safety, right? You don't want to be in a tent with a heater for too long. But we had a makeup artist. She was a little stubborn, one of my good friends to this day, but she would not leave the tent. And because of that, I had some leeway and I didn't probably put my foot down enough as a producer, going back to the confidence portion. And maybe 2 hours later, had to call an ambulance. She had carbon monoxide poisoning. Safety, I learned, is just so important on set, and like the safety of the crew. It's also a student film, so I'm then explaining to my professors and filling out safety reports, and it looks crazy. So that would probably be mine.
Wow, yeah, definitely safety is a big thing. Your talent can come late, you may forget an SD card, but you never want someone to be like injured on set. So as a producer, like I relate to that. Like you never want that to happen.
Second to last segment, what you watching? Are there any recent TV shows that have got you excited? Anything you've seen in the theater?
Yeah, I've been watching that damn Challengers. Have you seen Challengers?
Challengers, yeah, we got that Luca.
I saw that movie twice, and I usually never go and see a movie twice. Good, it was exciting. I like walking out of a theater and being inspired. It reminded me of like why I started all of this. So
yeah, Challengers was interesting. It wasn't what I thought, but I really appreciate the cinematography. There were some things I questioned about it, but no Zendaya slanders allowed here. I think for TV, so much out right now. I have to bring up Mr. and Mrs. Smith because my girl, one of my favorite directors, Karina Evans, who started literally doing Drake music videos and then like directed on P-Valley and now is doing Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover. So it's just cool to see like her journey in that way. And she's a Black woman. So it's like, we gotta shout out my girl, Karina
Evans. We need way more of that going on, so yes.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump into our last segment of the show today, the martini shot. So for those that don't know, on set, oftentimes the last shot of the shoot is called the martini shot because after those 12 hours or after a 40-day shoot or even a 3-day shoot, you might want to indulge whatever your vice is. Let's hop into it. So, Orel, what is the last takeaway from this episode, when we talk about refining your brand and we talk about being your own CEO, that you want to give our audience?
Getting your own brand off is one of the most rewarding things, and you really have to believe that it's possible, because it does take a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of failures, and a lot of people to believe and trust in you. Anytime a single person books me for a shoot, or if you ever say my name to somebody else, that's a huge deal, and I don't take that for granted. It's a journey, and you may not see results today. You may not see results in 2 months, but it does pay off. Just keep going with it.
That's good. I have to add, whether you have $0 in your account or, $1 million, right? I think being confident and going for it, right? If it means shooting in your apartment and putting on, a cool red light and setting up some tables, this is now a Chinese restaurant as far as I'm concerned, right? So it's working with, the resources within and kind of being able to bask in the present. Because it's going to come, right?
Yeah.
The bigger budget's going to come.
Yeah.
The clients will come. But it's how do you kind of work with what you have?
Yeah.
I've seen things I've been blown away by, and they shot it on an iPhone. So I think kind of leaning on friends, using your resources is huge, and just creating that portfolio. If it means it's a scene and you shoot in your apartment, do it. So that would be my biggest piece.
That's
and
great.
With that,
I love that.
Is there anything you want to add, Cholette? We have to say, shameless plug, please let us know where the people can find you. If you have anything you want to share, any last tidbits, this is the time to do it.
Find me on IG, at Cholette.
At Cholette.
And you'll see everything you need to know.
It's so clear. It's crystal. The brand, the identity is there. Thank you, my friend, for joining us today on season 1, episode 1 of Fake Film School. CEO-ish. It's off the ground. Thank you to my team. I really, truly appreciate my team. Without the team, there's no dream. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Fake Film School, season 1, episode 1, CEO-ish, and we out.